potentially, and be by all means disagree with me in the comments if you want to, is the only thing that he deserves is to go to a jail full of men who like to rape men.
Okay. Anyway, if there's something on your mind that you want to share, now's the time. Don't hold
Well,
back.
when you think about justice, think about that picture of him in his t-shirt and his jogging bottoms over what looks like an almost unconscious body of a girl.
Well, I don't disagree with anything you've said. I just hadn't thought that far ahead. My thought was the fact that just realizing I don't want him to be innocent.
I don't
It's
think anybody does.
That's what I mean. It's a weird.
It,
No one actually wants him to be innocent.
I
Every
think we'd be gutted if he's found innocent in any way, shape, or form. Absolutely gutted.
We'll be gutted if he's not gutted. Um. Oh, there's a
He'll think that,
t-shirt.
but he will think that the country is celebrating with him and his innocence being the point.
Well,
That's
this
his
is
deflection of reality.
yeah. This is that thing when confronted with really plain facts. And I think some of this does come back round to what we were saying before. One of the problems with the Epstein files is people are looking for all of this sex trafficking. And out of the 3 million, however many files that seem to be released, 99.9% of them, which is probably an exaggeration, are actually about trade deals, security deals, finances, loans. And as when you and I were looking into it during earlier in the week, one of the reasons so many names have been redacted is at the request of the victims. It's not. I'm as you and I said, we're not saying. I say we. I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but we're not saying that the government isn't covering, using it to cover things up. We're not saying that.
Mm.
But it's not actually all the cover up that everybody wants it to be. And there's this is the thing we've shifted into what people want. Like, we don't want Andrew to be innocent. We want him to be, and it's a strange
Yeah,
place to
we're
be,
emotionally invested in the outcome.
but it's not that. We want him to be guilty of really heinous crimes.
Yeah,
You know,
but
I
that's
don't
invested in the
want,
outcome. That's the outcome we want. That's the outcome we're invested in.
yeah, but what I'm saying is, what I'm realizing, and it's kind of thinking out aloud as I kind of process it, is I don't want him to just be guilty of a public office offence. I want all of those crimes that he's alleged to have done to be true. And the
Mm.
problem with that is, in saying that, you want there to be victims.
But I think, in fairness, nobody actually wants the victims, but they want people who make victims out of people or parasites
Mm.
to be called out.
Yeah, but it's just the like
But
in
it is the
any other
paradox, isn't it? You don't
circumstances.
want to know that you don't want to think that anybody has suffered these horrendous things that have happened.
Yeah,
But at the
and
same
that's what.
point, we know these horrendous things have happened, so we want someone held accountable for that.
Yeah, of course. But it's just like very, very rarely do you ever sit there thinking, God, I hope that person's guilty. I really hope they're guilty of everything they're accused of. Because yeah, you do want justice, but normally you're like, God, I wish they were innocent. I wish it was just, people hate on them because they're arseholes. That never really
Mm.
happened. But it's not. It's everybody. It's like, if there was a way, there isn't a crime, a heinous crime that is that bad, you wouldn't wish that he'd done it. And
No,
you want
but I think it's the same for
it's
Jeffrey
this
Epstein
weird
as well. It was the
place.
same when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested. I
Yeah,
think nobody wanted him found innocent at all. Nobody,
absolutely.
because he's not. We know he's not. Whether we can prove it or not is something different entirely. We just know that there's something in the very fabric core of us that just knows, and the impact that it has on society on a larger scale, if things like that are called out at that level, is is pretty unthinkable because we know things like this have happened since the dawn of time. It's just this is the
Yeah,
first time it's been caught in such on such a scale.
yeah. And I think as well, it's worth mentioning. It just reminds people behind closed doors how disgusting these people can be.
Well, yeah, this is the thing, innit? There's this thing where we call these people the elites, and they're not. They're just predators. There's nothing
Yeah,
actually elite about them. They're lucky in where they were born and what they were born into by in a large fucking stretch of the imagination. They're
and
just lucky that they had those privileges in life, and what they've done with those privileges is just abhorrent. It's disgusting.
it is. And but this thing as well. If I was sat in a room with him right now, how how would you break? So he will feel so entitled that he hasn't done anything wrong. It's it's almost like you. How would you say to him, "What do I have to show you? What evidence do you need to see for you to be convinced that you're in the wrong?"
He wouldn't see it. So you sent me
Yeah,
earlier the
that's what I'm
clip
saying.
of Scott Rouse where he did the analysis of the interview with Hillary Clinton with regards to her and the
Yeah,
Epstein files. And I did watch it, and actually quite funny towards it, and about 8.5 minutes into that, I was sat watching it, and I just almost wet myself laughing because she's asked a question about the former President Bill Clinton um and his hot tub image. And she said, no, 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 and literally immediate
yeah,
deflection. No, 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 that's
yeah,
not true. He was off doing
yeah,
his philanthropic work, etc. And then the scene shoots to the photograph of her husband in the hot tub that the interviewer was asking about, but she was completely and utterly, convinced that that wasn't true. So that's deflection. That's the deflection of reality. It's a really good example of it, I think.
Well, because that's the thing. Um, when how many? I'm just going to look up how many affairs has Bill Clinton had.
Oh, really? You think there's a piece of paper big enough? Sorry.
Well, because but no, bearing in mind he was impeached by the House of Representatives over charges of perjury for lying under oath about his affair with Monica
Lewinsky. Yeah.
Lewinsky. Um, and she's Hillary start kind of still just like, well, it wasn't him.
But that's it. That it's just a very clear example of the deflection of reality. It's not their reality, therefore it's not true. Let's go back to people like Deepak Chopra and look at spirituality. My truth, your truth. And it's literally when they talk, and I don't think a lot of people pick up on this, and quite rightly so, because it's not immediately obvious. Um, but when you start talking about my truth versus your truth, you're kind of leaving out facts, and the facts are what dictate reality, not your perception of the facts, just the facts themselves. So Bill Clinton
But
in that hot tub was a fact, but
but
in
this
her
is that
head
thing, isn't
doesn't
it?
register, it can't.
When I say, like I said, um, when I say, what evidence do I have to show you to convince you it's true? Um, what would you show him that would make Prince Andrew, former Prince Andrew, sorry,
Well,
Andrew
even
Mountbatten?
the photograph. So there is the clip going around the internet again at the moment of Virginia Giuffre being. Sorry if I really bastardize the pronunciation of her surname. I don't mean to. Um, but the interview in which she states of that famous picture, and she describes that as his chubby hands on me, and he will say, "No, that never happened. I wasn't there. That
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't me."
Yeah, exactly. I've heard her talking about that, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Is this? But what I mean is this, like. if you were to show him actual film footage of him doing something illegal in the room with him, I imagine he's still going to sit there and say it wasn't me.
Do you know what? It reminds me of that story that you told me of your bus kid.
Well, kid on the
So
bus.
tell the audience because this is brilliant. It's
So
priceless.
I used to be an appropriate adult at Kingston Police Station many years ago, in Southwest London, and I won't go into the details of the role as such, but effectively, I would act as the title says, an appropriate adult for people that didn't have, who were under the age of 18. And so they would have a solicitor or a legal rep. And my job is just to make sure that they got the correct legal advice and the police didn't try to coerce them as a guardian should. And this one particular case, and I used to always advise them, if you've absolutely 100% certain there's no evidence, just keep your mouth shut. I will protect your right to say nothing. If you if they do have evidence, just at the beginning of the tape, say I wish to make a statement, and just explain everything that happened, make a confession, speed the process up. It works in your favour. You're not making police waste hours of resources trying to prove something. This one kid had been fucking about in a bus, and the bus, was a double decker. There was literally 20 minutes of camera footage, video showing him on this bus fucking around. And he sat there while we watched it, goes, "No, that's not me." And everybody in the room's just looking at him like, and I'm not allowed to interject. He has the right of denial. But that was it. When 20 minutes of evidence of him fucking around on a bus is presented to him, he still sat there. It's like, no, that's not. And at one point, he even said, and there was this like a footage, a still taking a picture, and it's just his face, as clear as you can see my face now, and he's just like, doesn't even look like me. He's just like, fucking is looking in the mirror, you prick, but you can't say anything. And then there was just that level of delusion, and he was convinced as long as he denied it, 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 it was his word against the evidence, and he'd be okay. And you couldn't convince him otherwise. It's like, well, it's you. No, it wasn't me. Can't prove it. Well, we can.
We can and we have. It's here. We're showing you. No,
Mm.
no, no. That
But
can't be
I
right. No
was
way.
genuinely one of those moments where your brain actually pauses for a second, reconsiders reality, and then you need some sort of shock treatment to boost it back up because the guy is looking at himself and he just looks at everyone as confident as you can imagine. It doesn't even look like me. Fucking looking in the
I,
mirror.
I've got to say, I wouldn't have been able to control myself. I just wouldn't. It would have
I
broken
think I circumstances you're in a police interview room being recorded is like you say. When I say it, talking to you about it, everyone's laughing, but in that moment, you're there looking at the
me.
evidence, making
Shock.
sure.
It's like, what?
I swear, it's almost like that Matrix scene where they unplug them. Because there was just a moment where I'm just like my brain just disappeared and wasn't plugged into the earth anymore. Because I just like, and then
You
suddenly you
left the
snap back
Matrix.
out of it. It's like he actually did say that. He's actually maintaining that's not him. And when I say like it couldn't have been anyone else, it's like literally looking in a mirror, seeing your reflection, and saying, "I don't look anything like me."
That just reminds me of the wicked stepmother in Snow White.
Yeah, and this is so it's going back to the fantasism and the parasite of Andrew is I don't think if you were sat in a room with all of the evidence, everything he's ever, video, everything, he would probably be, that's not me. I didn't do it. Or wouldn't understand